Guess who's back? Back
Back
again.
again.
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? All right, sorry.
We got a
So,
fun one today though.
yeah, this is super exciting. This is like the class that you probably want to miss, but in all honesty, it's super important.
It's like the
And I'll set this up for
unsexy
you, Andy,
side.
and I'll let you spit here. But within our organization of the Sheer Group, we get questions more and more lately of like, what's the expectation? The market's shifting. Everyone wants to find an excuse to not pick up the phone or to not actively, outbound prospect. And that, the elephant in the room is what majority of our clients are doing is, calling the leads that we're finding the off-market data. So let's talk contact rate and then what that looks like within, because I think apple to apple comparison with what people are doing, like expireds or for sale by owner, we're talking contact rate within, absentee owners or downsizers, which are, probably the two most popular databases now. What's the expectation? In the past, we've had conversations, as high as 20% contact rate with our data. What is the, industry average, and what's your take, Andy? And I'm going to shut up for at least
I
30
think
seconds.
you're good, man. And feel free to chime in with like questions to ask and get a little bit more detail in as well, right? So like one of the huge blessings that we have, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like truth, there's it's a blessing and a curse.
Right.
Dialing in as many markets as we are, having the data behind what we do, is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly freeing because then it comes down to a calculator, really.
Right. Right.
Um, so let's do national average, right? Just like cold calling, national average. National average is going to be right around 7%.
So cold calling, selling a product, or cold calling real estate?
I'll say
Or does it
anything.
matter?
It
Everything.
doesn't
Just
matter.
right.
Legitimately, like 7% is basically what, like, if you were just to, let's say that your business is just circle prospecting, right? Like,
Yep.
all we do is just take the just listed, just sold, or maybe it's likely to sell. So you're going to end up seeing a 7% answer rate.
Answer rate. So someone picking up the phone,
Yeah.
not leaving a voicemail.
No. Right. Like and when I say answer, here's what I mean by answer rate, just to get really specific, right? Now, please know, guys, like if you're not going to nerd out, like put on your own glasses,
Yeah. Should I take mine
grab
off or?
grab a freaking notepad because it is going to get down and dirty into the numbers, right? So like
Yeah.
when I'm saying an answer, it could be a, hey, we're not interested. Hey, this is, I speak Spanish and you don't. This
Yep.
could be a, hey, listen, I sold that house 2 years ago. It could
Right.
be a, listen, I don't, this is not the right number, an answer, right?
Yep.
That's
Totally.
essentially what we're looking at. So 7% is what the national average is in terms of an answer.
Okay.
Then it obviously breaks down a little bit more into conversations. I won't necessarily go there, right? But like
Right.
there's a big difference. And here's where I will say, like, there's a big difference between answer rates on just normal cold calls versus
Right.
answer rates on your data. So
Okay.
through the share group, it's more than double. Like what we've done side by side, guys, with
Yeah.
everything, right? Like I don't even want to name the companies. It
Yeah.
is what it
I
is.
think we already have, but listen to this. This is crazy. So double. So I don't have my calculator watch on today, but if my contact rate went from 7% to 14%, what does that do from a production standpoint?
Yeah,
Because my understanding, Andy, is every contact, every communication, 1 in 12 is an appointment, right?
correct.
Getting them. So if I can double that, like, hello.
Yeah, so and that's really what it comes down to, right? It's like the running average for your data, the first run through,
Yeah, and that's
very,
important
very
too,
first
right?
run through, and
Yeah.
I think that's important too. So the very first run through, you're targeting like right around 18% answer rate,
Crazy.
which is nuts. Like that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
huge competitive advantage for people, right? Like as an agent, if you're cold call prospecting, you have 100 dials, you use some other data source, you
Right,
have
right.
7 answers.
Totally.
You do 100 dials with your data, you
Yeah.
get 18 answers.
Right. Yeah. And when it becomes 1 in 12 to get the appointment for the listing opportunity or the, whatever the offer is, hello, that
Right.
that makes perfect sense. Now here's a good question that comes up a lot too. We'll get someone that says, "Hey, I called 100, and I didn't get anyone." So what's the baseline? Because at the end of the day, like you said, you'll be able to figure out equations, with so much data. What is
Yeah.
the baseline for these guys that might have a little frustration early on. But
Yeah.
what do you think is the total amount? Like,
So here's
or
where I'll go to law of averages.
yeah,
Right. There is a huge law of averages that is at play. Okay, like 100 is not a good sample set.
right,
Typically, like, and I'll say if someone is going to be signing up or bringing it on ISA, right? So like our model's changing where we're starting to actually recruit ISAs for agents individually. So that's where
yeah,
we're headed.
yeah,
It just allows us to serve so many more people. So
sure,
when we have that conversation, like, hey, listen, I want to bring on an ISA, we talk about numbers like, do you have at least 10,000 records?
right.
Are you planning on having fresh 10,000 records every 90 days? Are you, and we go through like a
Yeah,
series of questions,
right.
right? So,
Well, and going back to your first run through,
right.
fresh data is so important to get that 18%.
Yeah. So you look at that first run through, and again, the 10,000 numbers, it just is a good benchmark to have. Honestly, that's where I would start and do it over a 90-day time period and also fully exhaust the list. And what I mean by fully exhaust the list is your list, you're not going to see diminishing returns until you start to see right around 4, 5, 6 attempts in.
Yeah.
Because as every real estate agent knows, if you guys are tracking some of the industry stats, it takes up to 7 initial outreaches in order to have that first conversation. So,
and I think one time you told me ultimately like 17, 18 touches.
Yes.
To complete the contract
in order to convert fully over.
to convert to revenue.
Yep.
That's wild. So we, with our clients, our average minimum is 2,500 records. And so the Share Group way is, hey, please, dial through those 2,500 as unachievable as it might seem, or, might have the bad luck early on, and I get in some cases, it could be the time frame of the data or a bad pocket. Like, data is not perfect, but understanding the expectations of about 85% accuracy, and so you can take that into the consideration. But I think the metrics and what we wanted to talk about today is that contact rate is such an important number. Yeah. As you're doing outbound calling, like, it's not your favorite thing to do. At least it's not mine. My favorite thing is probably laying on my back with my eyes closed. And then second is beers, and then a nap is third, and then beers and happy hour is fourth, and then my kids might be fifth. No,
yeah,
I digress. No, but yeah. Anyway,
so I think the bigger point, and man, let's just address the huge.
Spit it out, baby. Spit it out.
Right. So the biggest elephant in the room, and honestly, the thing that people don't want to admit or talk about. I posted this on my Facebook the other day. Right. Don't complain and don't blame others for the road that you're on, because it's your own asphalt.
I like that.
So when you're looking in the mirror and sitting there saying, listen, I'm not seeing the results from this, the question should be, have I made enough attempts? Have I given it enough time? Have I run through 4, 5, 6 different times on this particular list? Have I been consistent enough to make that business decision that, hey, guess what? It's actually the data that's the problem, not me.
Right. And you know what? We're always willing to, offer a get out of jail free card. We're never going to kick back no matter what. Like, at the end of the day, the customer satisfaction is the most. But you said it perfect, Andy, because so many realtors specifically have had, a bad taste in their mouth with shitty data or free data, or, so immediately, if you get a fast busy or a do,
right,
everyone shits the bed and automatically points the finger back. Where if you do the law of averages, like you talk about, and look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I absolutely did my best I could in this. And there's something I heard the other day too, like, no matter the market, like, no matter what, interest rates are the highest of all time or lowest of all time,
people are still,
whoever is in control of your path is the one that's in control, because people are going to still sell their house no matter what, because time, life stage events, so many different things that doesn't really matter, but you, and, looking at yourself in the mirror and doing what you're supposed to do. Now, at the end of the day, all data isn't perfect, and there's going to be pockets of some disconnects and some here and there, but it is a law of averages, and the averages that we're reporting and seeing, that's what gets me excited, man. I could actually jump up and clack my heels together. I don't think many people can believe that, but I'm gonna have to show that here as like a B-roll of me showing you how excited I get to hear. Yeah, exactly. How excited I get to hear that. Like, there's nothing more that I take pride in is the quality product that we throw out there. Like, and
Yeah.
it gives us more and more to puff your chest out a little bit and be proud of what we're doing and representing, because if our
And
clients don't have ROI, no one does.
before we wrap on this thing too, here's what I would challenge: if you guys are going to invest in data like this,
Yeah.
and you're going to go big, all right, let's just say that hey, let's do 10,000 records. We're going to get it at whatever cost.
Yeah.
Get the triple line dialer from Mojo.
Right.
Like, work the numbers so that the numbers work for you. So plug in the triple line dialer. Don't worry about the properties. Don't look up the properties on Zillow or Redfin or whatever else. Don't do the research.
Don't
Just
outthink
work
it.
the damn list.
Yeah.
Plug it in. If you dial for 2 to 3 hours, you're going to hammer through 250 to 300 numbers up inside of there over the course of a week. That's 1,500.
Yeah.
Right. If that's the case, guys, you will absolutely end up hitting not only the contact ratios, you'll see the number of leads come through that you're looking for. You'll see the number of appointments come through that you're looking for, and you won't be complaining about the data.
Yeah. No, dude, spot on. It's easy to point at the piece of the data, but at the end of the day, the data is probably the most inexpensive piece to the overall program. I mean, with outbound marketing, maybe not, but for marketing in general, data is always the most inexpensive piece, man. I love what you spit, man. I love the conversation, and I will be better about sharing these conversations with more and more people. Andy does this in 63 markets. His company's very in depth with the actionable plan of actually doing it, and then holding yourselves accountable to follow up with those listing appointments. And at the end of the day, it's a revenue game. If our clients do not have a return on investment, we will not have a product that we can sell. So it's the Bald Crew. It's the 2 and 2. It's my little brother Andy. He's my little boo boo. But another good conversation, and that quote, like, yeah, it's not your asphalt or whatever it is. Like, I love that, dude. So we should make that the title of this one.
All right, brother. As always, it's always fun, man.
Yeah, dude, I love you, man. We'll talk tomorrow, and have a great day, everybody.
See ya.